Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Michael Cohen. What a historic episode this will be. This is our last episode before the Manhattan District Attorney criminal trial against Donald Trump commences. Donald Trump made 10 separate attempts at trying to get an adjournment. 3 this week, including 2 extraordinary Article 78 emergency appeals to the appellate division, first department. Trump was rejected each and every time. The last time he was rejected was yesterday afternoon. So all signs are pointing to the first criminal trial against Donald Trump commencing on Monday. Michael Cohen, your reaction to this all?
Well, Monday is a very big day. Salty, throw it up there so people understand that the day is expected to be mostly stormy with a chance of incarceration. The same will probably follow from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. Let me be clear, though, right? Without trying to be funny or comical, which is my general nature. Monday is the beginning of voir dire. That's where they're going to try to impanel a jury that will ultimately sit 12 jurors, 2 alternates for the life of this trial. I'll tell you a prediction that I do have, Ben, which is Todd Blanche and Susan Neckles are going to do everything that they can to drag the voir dire process as long as they can. And each and every time that Judge Merchan tries to speed it up and to move it along, because, in New York, especially in state court, the judges play a very active role in the voir dire process. There's already a list of questions that they're going to provide. We talked about that on the last show, where one of the questions is, have you ever listened to Michael Cohen's Mea Culpa podcast? Have you ever listened to his Political Beatdown podcast? Have you read either of his books, or do you follow him on social media? We'll see what happens there. But they're going to use that as an attempt to once again file more motions to delay this case, claiming that they are impeding in Trump's ability to have a fair trial based upon the voir dire selection. They're going to look to have Judge Merchan recused. They're going to look to have the venue changed, like these past 10. I don't even know what's the right way to call these motions, Ben. Frivolous.
Cohen, absolutely frivolous, because let me say this. If any other litigant brought these types of things in any other context, they would be seriously sanctioned and they would be labeled a vexatious litigant and be prohibited from making these filings. That's my understanding if anyone else was doing this. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're not. That's the word I was looking for. They would be a vexatious litigant and they would be sanctioned. He's obviously, as we talk about regularly, because this case is so unusual, that this is a case of first impression. This is the first time that a former president of the United States is being tried in a court of law in a criminal case with, 34 charges, 34 counts. It's unprecedented, and it's starting in just a couple of days.
Big news indeed. Let me just share with everybody, just so you see what these denials look like and that are issued. We can pull up the one from yesterday that says Article 78 proceeding in the nature of a prohibition. After hearing argument from counsel for all parties, the court denies movant's application to stay all of the proceedings pending resolution of the Article 78 proceeding in the nature of prohibition. And here were the reasons that Trump cited yesterday. The unconstitutional effects of Justice Merchan's rulings are causing ongoing, irreparable constitutional harms to Donald Trump and the voting public, and if not stopped, will prevent petitioner from receiving a fair trial. I mean, you don't get much more frivolous than that. Then we had the prior denial, defendant's application for a stay of trial pursuant to CPLA section 230.30, pending the determination of defendant's motion for change of venue is denied. Then we had another one, the application for an interim stay of the proceedings, pending resolution of the Article 78 proceeding is denied without prejudice to any determination by the full bench regarding Trump's attempt at recusal. So venue, recusal, Justice Merchan's other orders that Donald Trump just generally and vaguely says are unconstitutional. But Donald Trump right now is on his social media platform making videos of himself cursing in these videos. He's making selfie videos of himself just saying, this is BS, this is bullshit, this is bullshit, and then posting them on his social media platform. Let me show you this video that he just made and posted.
So they weaponize government and they take me to court on bullshit. So we are going to win. We're going to win big. We're going to go through these horrible Biden trials. And at the end of the day, November 5th, everyone's coming out to vote for Trump. Thank you very much.
You know, and as you watch that, here's the thing that I want to make clear. Trump is presumed innocent. That is our system. I can have my opinions based on all of the evidence that I've seen that Trump will be found guilty. And in a fact-based way that we do here, we will, or I will, explain why. Trump's behavior, though, to rip to shreds our judicial system is something so anathema to our system of justice, to law and order, to our democracy, to normalcy. You know, if Donald Trump were to make a video and say, look, as everybody knows, I'm on trial, I'm going to fight for whatever myself, and I'm hopeful that there will be a verdict in my... I wouldn't be critical of it. I mean, everyone has the right to do that and to speak out. But when you have him like that saying, it's bullshit, this is bullshit, you know, it's like, grow up. I mean, just grow up and stop acting like that. Also, we've got some additional leaked footage, Michael Cohen, of Donald Trump's speech he recently gave at Maga. At the same time, he is or has been threatening witnesses like you and Stormy Daniels. He's been posting a lot of stuff about Stormy Daniels recently. Here's what he's saying to people at Mar-a-Lago privately. And so when people are saying, oh, Cohen, the threats against you, are you fearful? What do you think? Donald Trump is out there. He's the leader of the Republican Party. He was once the president of the United States, disgracing that office where he had all the power. He has said that he believes he should have absolute immunity to order SEAL Team 6 to kill his political enemies. And at Mar-a-Lago, in this new leaked footage that we got, Trump speaks very fondly of Al Capone's ability to murder people and get away with it. Let's play this clip.
And before I became well known as somebody that was indicted more than Alphonse Capone, the legendary Alphonse Capone, you know, Al Capone, if he took somebody to dinner and he didn't like them, he'd kill them. If somebody looked at him the wrong way, he would kill them. He once had a date, very lovely young lady, and the man next to him tried to pick her up. Guess what happened to him? It wasn't good. Scarface, they call him. It was not good to go after Alphonse Capone's girlfriend. I'll teach that to these guys. Prince, you don't want to do that, but it was not a good situation. He got indicted less than I did, Alphonse. I got indicted 4 times. He only got indicted 2 times. Now, the good news is our poll numbers went through the roof. The bad news is I have to deal with these maniacs. They're maniacs.
Cohen.
Look, wonderful political speech. It just goes to show you how fantastic his knowledge of history, his intent to be legitimate as a candidate or as a president. He's already telegraphing what he's going to do. You know, these ongoing continuous attacks. When he's speaking before the crowd of idiots at Mar-a-Lago, who gives a fuck? Not me. I truly don't care at all. But when he starts posting on his Truth Social, where he's able to get to blow his dog whistle to his Maga supporters, these are the ones that you need to be careful for. These are the ones that are armed to the teeth. These are the ones that don't believe, in gun laws. They're the ones that have all the AR-15s and tens of thousands of rounds, and they are the ones that are somewhat, let's just say, unhinged in order to do the bidding of their Fuhrer. It's the same sort of group that got suckered into going to the Capitol, many of whom already spent time in prison or jails, had their lives turned upside down. They're the ones that he's blowing the dog whistle to. In fact, Salty, if you have this one, to me was the kappa of all kappas. Michael Avenatti, as we talked about the last show, is asked to come on, or actually he asked MSNBC, and they complied, and they gave him this massive, massive platform. You're talking about a guy who robbed a bunch of his clients, including Stormy Daniels, paraplegic. There's a guy who tried to extort Nike. There's a guy who went ahead and paid off this guy, Jonathan Fry, an IRS agent in San Francisco, to pull my information off the FinCEN system. That's the Financial Crimes Network. This is not a good guy. And he goes on and he becomes the Talmud Chacham, right? This is the genius of all geniuses that's being asked to opine on the upcoming Alvin Bragg case. Can we go back to it for 1 sec, Salty? Because this to me was great. Avenatti comes out then in a statement through, of course, a buddy of his on the outside, the same friend that was trying to get him on all the shows, on all the stations. It's just MSNBC. Ari Melber was the only idiot that really did it. And he writes, we can't be hypocrites when it comes to the First Amendment. Really? How about my fucking First Amendment constitutional rights being violated by El Cheeto? It is outrageous that Cohen and Daniels can do countless TV interviews, post on social, and make money on bogus documentaries, all by talking shit about Trump. But he's gagged and threatened with jail if he responds. Can you imagine that Avenatti is now trying to champion Donald's cause? And what does Donald do? Salty, show it, right? What does Donald do? He puts that up. Thank you to Michael Avenatti, right? Could you imagine that he is thanking Michael Avenatti? What do you think is really going on here, Ben? I'll give you my take on it. Avenatti knows he has another 9 years left on his sentence. And somewhere along the line, I guess he thinks that if he's successful in helping to either delay this case or to witness obstruction of justice or witness tampering, or to get into the head of a juror, a prospective juror, and Donald ends up getting off as a direct result, that maybe, just maybe, Donald will consider pardoning him if, God forbid, 1,000,000 times he wins the election. First of all, Avenatti's an idiot, because Donald will not pardon him for anything in the world. He blames him for a lot of this. He's got a disdain for him. He'll use him as much as he can, but he will never do a damn thing for him. That I can assure you of. But the fact that Avenatti was given this opportunity given this platform on Ari's show, seriously, he made a fool of himself. He got ass smacked on social media for doing this. Go explain, because I can't.
No, it was inexplicable. And, Ari Melber, who's done some good interviews before,
Yep.
it always just kind of shocks me when legacy media appears to think that that's how you get ratings. And it isn't. I mean, what we've shown here at the Midas Touch Network is you get ratings by just telling people the truth and showing people the facts and then showing people the documents and treating the audience like the intelligent people that they are, and always representing democracy through that framework and not through what's going to be so shocking that gets the most ratings. For us, at the Midas Touch Network, on Political Beatdown, and all of our shows, we have principles and we have values. And if politicians, candidates, and guests meet those values, even if we disagree with them on a lot of other issues, they're invited on our network. And if they don't, we're not going to allow them to spew propaganda for the belief that they may help our ratings. I want to have civil, intelligent, fact-based conversations here. And I respect, and we respect, our audience so much that we also understand that when you gaslight people the way MSNBC does sometimes, and the way CNN does, and the way the New York Times does with the headlines, like the recent New York Times headline saying both presidential candidates are, not the best messengers on the issue of women's reproductive rights. That was actually a headline on New York Times. I mean, Donald Trump, actually the person who took away women's reproductive rights and brags about it, and President Biden making a major part of his platform protecting women's reproductive rights. And the New York Times headline was, both sides, both people are not good messengers. That gaslighting also causes a great deal of trauma to people. We're all living in this thing together where there's a wannabe authoritarian who's trying to overthrow our democracy. We don't have the luxury of being in our ivory tower like some writers and media companies. We fear that Trump and MAGA and everything they're talking about with Project 2025, that if they get into power, that they're going to kill us, that our family members can die, that people that we love. For us, this is life or death. And so when a legacy media treats this whole thing like a game, or treats us all like we're stupid, that causes such a degree of trauma. And that's why when it comes to the coverage here of this criminal case, we're going to have only the top experts and people who know, like you, Michael Cohen, who has had a mea culpa.
The problem here is that Ari should be ashamed of himself. He should be embarrassed. In fact, he should spend the next episode, at least the first 10 minutes, apologizing to the American people, to his viewers, to his loyal viewers, the viewers of MSNBC, for making a complete and total asshole out of himself in terms of putting somebody like a Michael Avenatti on the stand. This isn't the Michael Avenatti of 3 years ago, the narcissist who thought he was going to run for the presidency, who was on every single show, gaslighting everything, making stuff up, because that's what the American people were soaking in. It was like making America into a Kardashian country. It was like a Bravo episode of Housewives. All right. That's what they were doing, and they fell for it. And then what happened? We learned the truth. We learned that the guy took money. He stole money from a quadriplegic. He stole money from Stormy. He turned around and he tried to extort Nike, right? But he turns around and he goes, well, that he has been unfairly treated. Could you imagine this maniac saying shit like this? Really?
And here's the thing, though, too. It's also kind of taking accountability acknowledging, that you were wrong. And I mean, to your point, Cohen, it feels also kind of very opportune. It feels so very opportunistic, and
Sure.
it's
And
surprising.
especially, by the way, for the station, their goal was to bring him on. They put a little picture of him in the Chiron coming up, 8 o'clock, right? And they kept promoting it and promoting it. They did it because they're smashing ratings, right? They're actually doing very well in there, and they wanted to do something that was even bigger. Instead of being thankful for the ratings that they have, it also helps them to boost their income regarding advertisers, right? That's why they did it. It makes no sense to me at all. I thought it was a huge mistake. Many people, even at MSNBC, who I spoke to, all believe that it was opportunistic and that it was a massive mistake. And he's taking, meaning Ari and his show, are taking a massive, massive beating as a direct result of it. And you know what? I say this called accountability, and that's what it is. It's accountability.
Let me show you here from more of the leaked footage from Mar-a-Lago. Here we have Donald Trump glitching, claiming he's being prosecuted by someone named Letitia Jones. Let's play this clip.
They put him into the state of New York and then ultimately into the DA's office to run the case. This is being run by Biden. They put a man in to the state, Letitia Jones, peekaboo, I call her. Peekaboo. They put a man into that one to Letitia. They put a man into that one to run it, and then he went into the DA's office.
What's he even saying there?
I have no idea. First of all, Letitia James is a female. I mean, because don't forget his cognitive test, man, woman, child, camera, TV. He clearly doesn't know the difference between a man and a woman. Tish James is a female. All right. Alvin Bragg. I don't know who or what he's talking about. But can I say this to you, Ben? The part of that video that I find the most troubling is not how stupid Donald sounds or how rambling and nonsensical a point he's trying to make that he just doesn't.
Can I predict and see if I can mind meld with you right now? The people who were there laughing at him saying the racist stuff about New York Attorney General Letitia James.
Yes. I don't understand what they're thinking. All right. I don't understand. First of all, I don't know who it is that's doing it. I wish that I did. But I feel sorry for them. I really do. I don't know what makes them tick or why they think something like that is funny, or they just laughing at how stupid Donald sounds. I don't think so, right? Because it's kind of like at a point after, I call her peekaboo James. Yeah, peekaboo. And they're laughing. Why is that even funny? What's funny about it? You're being criminally charged. Is it 34 or 37 counts?
34.
34 counts starting on Monday. This is not like Tish James's civil fraud trial that she got slapped with a $500 million decision. This is criminal. This is where they turn around like with Alan Weisselberg right after sentencing. Please take the orange man, stick him in an orange jumpsuit, all right? And if he wants to appeal, this is something Mershon can certainly do. He could remand him to jail pending the appeal. It's certainly within his right. So why he's doing the things that he's doing, why he's saying the things that he's saying, the only thing that I could surmise from this sort of ridiculous scenario is that Trump has lost his mind, that he's fucking petrified, beyond petrified, and he's just an idiot. I really don't have another way to describe it. I'm not happy about the whole situation. I'm really not. But accountability must be had.
Well, I'll give you another data point right here. In one of those selfie videos that Donald Trump was making of himself and posting throughout today, Here he says that radical left windmills and all sorts want to destroy the country. Here, play this clip. Oh, well, they don't have it. When they get it, please load that. At the same time, though, let me show you this, though, and hopefully we've got this. So we know that Trump's installed Lara Trump as the head of the RNC. The types of interviews that she's doing, as my team finds, as our team finds, the windmill video clip. You know, this guy Alex Stein, who got famous for sexually harassing AOC and saying all these things about her. So he's like a very big, popular right-wing podcaster. So amongst the Maga base, they love this guy. So Lara Trump recently went on his show. And while he's interviewing Lara Trump, he takes this baby doll and he starts, he says that under Biden, you can't hit baby dolls anymore, and that he really wants to be hitting baby dolls. So he starts slamming the baby doll, and then he takes the baby doll and he kicks, and then he hits it. And then he goes and takes the baby doll again, and he starts burning the baby doll's head. He takes a lighter to the head of the baby doll. I think we've got this photo as well. It's in the same photo stack, guys. There it is right there. And starts burning and Lara Trump's sitting there and laughing at all of this. And, you know, as we find that windmill clip, you know, and him saying these things, Cohen, it's so dangerous, the wannabe authoritarianism, but also as you just look at this stuff and Lara Trump on this show, like, I'm thinking to myself, what is going, this, you know, I want to channel President Biden when he goes, this is the United States of America. This is like a weapon of mass embarrassment. I'm so embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that this is what.
It's worse than embarrassment, Ben. I'm confused. I'm actually confused about what point was he trying to make? You know, what is the nature of the point that he's trying to make in lighting a doll, a baby doll on fire? What's the point that Lara is trying to make? You know, laughing about it. This is not normal behavior. You know, it's almost like laughing, you know, when you have an older person and you're like, well, you know what, they've had their time here, you know, and being that they're not Republicans, we should do X, Y, Z. This whole thing it's not even like crazy reality television. It's so much worse than that. I am absolutely concerned. I'm mortified. I'm confused. I'm freaked out. I'm nauseated. And go on and on and on with just the bewilderment that I experienced when I was watching this for the very first time. I'm still to this moment trying to figure out what's the point. What's the point?
Yeah, he just randomly starts saying that, you know, one of his producers just had a baby for the show. So the producer takes the baby, like a real baby. And then Lara Trump, you'll see here, pull up the photo of Lara. So Lara Trump's actually holding the real baby. That's the producer who's dressed like the clown in the American flag jumpsuit. And then another producer hands the main host, Alex Stein, the baby doll. And then Alex Stein starts taking the baby doll and smashing it on the floor over and over again, and then starts kicking the baby doll, and then punts the baby doll, then takes the baby doll. Lara Trump's here the whole time watching it. She's laughing at this. She thinks it's funny. And then Alex Stein's like, under Biden, you can't hit baby dolls. I want to hit baby dolls. I'm a baby doll hitter. And then he takes the baby doll, punts it, brings it back, and then lights the baby doll's head, you know, on fire on the show. And Lara Trump is like laughing at this, you know. And I think about things like this. I think about the fact that Donald Trump and MAGA has changed the national anthem. Like the fact that, you know, we talked about the media gaslighting before, like the fact that, look, I represented Colin Kaepernick, right, in 2016 and 2017, when all of the media was trying to say, oh, it's such a disrespectful thing to the national anthem, when Colin took a knee to peacefully protest police brutality. He stayed to himself. He didn't put it in people's faces. And for that, Colin was basically banned from the NFL and can never get a job. And all of the right-wing media attacked him. And then right now, the MAGAs, the Republicans, did a new national anthem. They took our national anthem. They now call it, I'm making this, the J6th anthem. They play the J6th anthem instead of the national anthem, which is sung by the most dangerous rioters from January 6th. And then Donald Trump praises them, calls them hostages, and says that he's going to free them and that they're patriots. 27 of the 29 of them that are in the DC jail either assaulted or attempted to assault police officers. These are people who threw explosives at police officers, people who beat Officer Sicknick, who then later died after his injuries. They did a new national anthem. Lara Trump, the head of the RNC, is going on shows where they're burning baby dolls' heads. Like, what is going on here? And that's, to me, where we talk to independents, we talk to mainstream Republicans, and we say, folks, we can agree to disagree on certain issues, but fundamentally, when it comes to democracy and normalcy, we need to band together right now. Cohen, I want to get your reaction to that, but I want to remind everyone that we're doing something really special and really historic tonight. So at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, pretty much right after the Brother Live podcast ends, you're going to be on Patreon with me. I'm bringing Brett and Jordy on as well. And we're all going to show our support for you, Michael Cohen. And so I would love for all of the Beatdown Brigaders to be there so you could see everyone's faces on this Patreon. Of course, we'll open it up to questions. We'll do that for about a half an hour. But I just want to make this a very positive and special send-off for you, Michael Cohen. So if you want to meet Michael Cohen and wish him well before Trump's criminal trial starts, go to patreon.com/political beatdown, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, after the brother show that I do with Brett and Jordy ends. We'll pretty much start shortly thereafter. The secret link is on patreon.com/political beatdown. Ask us questions, but let's stand united in supporting Michael Cohen. And I would love for him to see all of our faces there. So if you're not a member, patreon.com/political beatdown. Let's take our first and only ad of this episode, and we'll be right back to discuss more.
Field of Greens is the healthiest thing I do every day, and I want you on this journey with me. It's literally 1 scoop a day, and it tastes great. I personally like the wild berry flavor. And in fact, I also like the strawberry lemonade, and it's completely improved my life. This is nutrition the way nature intended. Field of Greens personally gives me way more energy to get through my day. And I've also noticed that my skin and my hair are way healthier too. Ever since drinking Field of Greens, my stomach feels way better. I mean, it's helped with my digestion, and I just feel better and healthier overall. Field of Dreams is radically different. Each and every organic fruit and vegetable was medically chosen to support heart and vital organ health. I trust Field of Greens to keep me healthy. And I promise you're going to love this product. But if for any reason you don't, they'll give you 100% of your money back. That's the guarantee. 100% money back guarantee. You can't go wrong. I got you 15% off your first order plus free rush shipping. So visit fieldofgreens.com and use promo code BEAT. That's promo code BEAT at fieldofgreens.com. Fieldofgreens.com. Go there now. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? Look, I know about sleep quality because I'm sleep deprived. But if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend that you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. It's inspired by NASA. Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so that you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating, and they're designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. I mean, no more gross odors. You see, Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands, and they feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and worse, acne. So sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/beat and try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo BEAT, that's BEAT, at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, well, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/beat and use the code BEAT to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/beat to treat yourself. And thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
Welcome back. I want to give a special thanks to our pro-democracy sponsors right there, and to all the new Patreons or patrons. We welcome you as well. We really appreciate those pro-democracy sponsors. They help make this show possible. The discount codes are in the description below. And I know, Cohen, you love to use the products that we promote and advertise here. And we don't like to promote or advertise things that you don't use and personally like. And the same for me and my brother. So make sure you check that all out in the descriptions and use those discount codes to get some pretty good discounts. Let me show you that clip where Donald Trump starts talking about the windmills. And so for those who are just joining us, we talked about, Donald Trump praising Alphonse Capone and people like laughing at that. We showed the video of Donald Trump making more racist statements about New York Attorney General Letitia James. We then showed you that Lara Trump, the chair of the RNC, went on a right-wing podcast where they were laughing about burning a baby doll and kicking the baby and punting the baby and slamming the baby's head against the ground. And then Donald Trump is saying this about windmills. Let's play this clip.
That group is radical left. They want windmills. They want all sorts of things that are going to destroy our country, and we're not going to allow it.
What's going on, Cohen? What is this?
Again, I don't know. The problem is that he's rambling. When he rambles, then there's no way to understand exactly what he's talking about. The one thing he doesn't ramble about is the gaslighting, the blowing of the dog whistle to his Maga supporters in terms of coming after people like myself, like Stormy, like the DA, like the Attorney General, like the judges, like the judge's daughter, like the law clerk. I mean, this, he knows what he's doing. And so many of you are so kind in terms of your comments. Yes, keep your chin up, stand tall, stand strong, and so on. Let me be very clear about something. All right. And I've said this now for quite some time. My hope is that Judge Merchan does more to gag Donald from what he's doing. Right now, he's using Avenatti to do it. He's using others to do it. He knows exactly what's going on. And he's doing it because it gins up this sort of energy, right? Can you imagine this? Here, I did nothing wrong in the horseface case. I see she showed up in New York today trying to drum up some publicity for herself. Yeah, says the guy who thinks he's Mr. Publicity. I haven't seen her spoken to her since I took a picture with her on a golf course in full golf gear, including a hat, close to 18 years ago. Could you imagine, including a hat? She knows nothing about me. Well, so much of that, other than her con man lawyer, Avenatti. This is a guy who he's now praising, and convicted liar and felon jailbird Michael Cohen may have schemed up. This is what caused AON, or OAN, I should say, to start writing up that stupid story about me and Stormy scheming this up. And it was really me who had the affair with Stormy Daniels. But Donald, being the good guy that he is, gave me $130,000 to pay her to keep her silence because he didn't want it to affect my wife and my life. He's so good. Let me tell you, this is not easy. And I know most of you understand this, but I'm not sure you understand exactly how difficult that this is on the witnesses. I am not the defendant in this case. All right. I am a non-party subpoenaed witness to this case. And I think it's incumbent upon the DA and the prosecutors and the system to hold him or anyone accountable that attempts to interfere in a criminal trial, in a proceeding. It's obstruction of justice. It's witness tampering. The amount of hate that comes your way is more than any of you could possibly imagine. On top of that, the simple pressure of being a key witness in an unprecedented case against a former president of the United States in the first criminal trial against a former president in America's history. And the amount of phone calls that I get from media, from television, across the board, it is staggering and overwhelming as I'm just trying to rebuild my own life. So you could imagine it's like exam week, right? And you have exam week every single day for months. It's like, it's just overwhelming to the point where you can't eat. So when so many of you turn around and say, you know, get some sleep, keep yourself strong, and so on. Sleep. You think that I'm not even dreaming about this shit in my sleep and eating? It's like I've lost my entire appetite. I mean, you know, not to divulge too much. I've lost over 23 pounds since I started Political Beatdown with you, Ben. I'm not hungry when I eat. I feel nauseous because there's not a minute that goes by that I'm not getting some sort of a phone call from somebody wanting to ask me a question. In fact, even when we go out for dinners with friends, they're so interested in this case, as is everybody else. It's why Political Beatdown is the number one show, Ben, between you and I on YouTube during the hour in the world. Because people want to hear, they want to know. It's stress is right. And it's so hard. You're out for dinner with friends, all they want to talk about is this orange crusted shithead. And it's like, it's overwhelming. I'm like, can I just eat one meal in peace that I don't have to be thinking about the Mandarin Mussolini?
Well, that's why tonight on patreon.com/political beatdown, we're not really going to talk that much about, I want it to be more like a fun, as much as we can have fun, 30 minutes where we could talk about, I don't know, I want people to ask questions. The way I'm going to try to structure it is ask questions about like your hobbies, movies coming out. I could talk about my wedding coming up. I'm not sure that's why they're going to. We'll talk about things like that. You know, one of the things when you study though Trump's pathology the way you and I do, and also you know from our various backgrounds and experiences, you know where you know I've worked with SPACs before. You know, I've worked with companies trying to go public via the SPAC route. I've worked with companies that raise money, you know, in my prior life as a lawyer before being running this network. You know, exactly. You know, so you and I knew 2 years ago when this Trump media thing was announced and the SPAC was announced that this was a meme stock and very problematic. And knowing Trump's pathology too, he doesn't stop until he literally goes bankrupt or is convicted or found liable, and then he whines about it. And what made this one particularly dangerous and mischievous, though, also, is that you and I knew how much this was going to harm the regular retail investor who doesn't know a lot about stocks and puts their life savings into Trump media because it's being hyped and kind of pumped up in a way. Also being pumped up by legacy media that doesn't understand the way the stock market works. And go back to videos 2 years ago, you and I were predicting almost to the dollar amounts the types of drops that are going to happen right now. And so today the stock dropped to about $32. I mean, it's continues to go down by significant amounts every day. It dropped another 5% today. There was another report today about, how like everybody's suing everybody. The co-founders are suing Trump, saying he's trying to take their 8.7%. Trump's suing the co-founders. The person who started the SPAC is suing Donald Trump. One of the new headlines today is a Trump media director is being accused of, quote, hacking files in attempted corporate coup d'etat, lawsuit alleges. Investment firms led by the former CEO of the Trump SPAC that merged with Donald Trump's media company alleged that their files were hacked and stolen by a current member of the media company's board of directors. And it goes on to talk about how in this lawsuit, the firm that started the SPAC is accusing a board member named Eric Swider of plotting a coup in early 2023 to replace Patrick Orlando as the CEO of the Trump SPAC. Earlier this week, we got this headline from the Financial Times. The Trump media's independent auditor, B.F. Borgers, this guy from Colorado who has this office in Colorado that I think you said looked like a rest stop. It turns out that this auditor, and I was so surprised that like this, I was like, this is not one of the big four. This is supposed to be a company of some size. Like how do you have this guy as your auditor? Well, we're learning that this auditor got a 100% deficiency rating by the PCAOB, which is the regulator that audits the auditors in public spaces, and found that 21 of the 21 files were deficient. Then you just take a look at the finances of this entity of Trump Media, losing $58 million in 2023, making only $4.1 million in revenue. So, remove all of the politics and political parties and New York Attorney General Letitia James this and Special Counsel Jack Smith. Like this was a new entity that Trump created in Cohen. It follows the Trump playbook to a T. Lawsuits, accusations of coups, incompetence, ethical lapses, and worse. We're seeing it all unfold.
And we are now also seeing more than 50% of the value, which, by the way, as we've talked about on this show, Brigaders, is overinflated by a multiple that I can't even think of. They've lost more than 50% of that value in just 2 weeks. I mean, that's just another phenomenal scenario. Not to mention that this guy Borger, I think he got his CPA degree from Trump University. So what do you expect? 100% deficient? I mean, think about that before you go ahead and you invest your money in a company that the guy who is doing the auditing on your company is considered 100% deficient by the agency that's supposed to rate individual. I mean, it's fantastic. The story in and of itself is fantastic that somebody with these credentials or lack thereof is in charge of an $8 billion, pumping Trump, type of a stock. I'm blown away by it, just like you. Could you imagine at one point in time that this stock was over $100? It was like 178 or 148, something like that. And then on the opening of the bell, it was like 80 something dollars, and now it's 32.41, down over 50 some odd percent since going public. I mean, that is what's called a spectacular death spiral.
Well, and I forgot to mention also in giving the rundown of everything that's happened with this stock that the Schwartzman brothers, who were initial directors in the Trump SPAC, have pled guilty to criminal inside trading and can face up to 20 years for making more than 20 or 30 million dollars from trading on inside information when the SPAC was first announced, and their guilty plea took place in the past few weeks. I also want to show you what Donald Trump's been doing lately after he issued his statement on women's reproductive rights. And after he took them away, he issued the statement saying that all of those state bans should remain in place. And here, Donald Trump, in this interview in Atlanta, Georgia, says that he was okay with throwing doctors in prison if there are state laws that prevent doctors from providing women with reproductive care. Here, let's play this clip of that Trump wants to throw doctors in prison. Let's play the clip.
Question. You answered some questions about abortion, but do you think a doctor should be punished who perform abortions?
I'll let that be to the states. You know, everything we're doing now is states and states' rights. And what we wanted to do is get it back to the states, because for 53 years it's been a fight. And now the states are handling it. And some have handled it very well, and the others will end up handling it very well. And those are the things that states are going to make a determination about.
Horrific stuff right there. And then while he's getting on the tarmac in Atlanta, he says that any Jewish American who doesn't support him hates their religion. Let's play this clip.
And any Jewish person that votes for a Democrat or votes for Biden should have their head examined.
You want to comment on that, Cohen?
Yeah, look, what is there to comment on? First of all, before you turn around and you question somebody else's, religious convictions, and he has to have religious conviction of his own. And creating the Trumpy Bible does not make him a good Christian. I can tell you that in the 12 years that we were together at the Trump organization, I cannot remember not once that Donald Trump went to church. Not once. He does not have religious convictions. And for him to make a statement like that, it's not just stupid, it's insulting. And yet there are so many Jewish billionaires that are supporting him. I don't understand what they're doing. I don't understand what they're thinking. They make me nauseous, to be honest with you. Kissing this guy's ass for what? So that they could end up buying another airplane, that they need another 100,000 square foot home in another sort of desolate area. I mean, it is insulting. And I don't understand why they're doing it. I don't understand why they're willing to trade America's democracy for a Trump autocracy, thinking that there's some way in the world that they will be able to benefit from it. I mean, that's really sick, especially when America has given them so much. Their great grandchildren will never, ever have to work a single day in their lives. That's how much money some of these fuckers have. And yet they're willing to put our democracy in jeopardy for the almighty dollar. Shame on them. Because look, I'm all for capitalism. I'm all for making money. I'm all for doing the best that you can do. I really am, but not at the expense of America's democracy, and especially not putting it in the hands of somebody like Trump and his acolytes that are following him. No way.
I don't love covering polls, but because the media wants to put out all these false narratives on polling, it's worth pushing back on that mostly all of the national averages right now have President Biden in the lead, some by smaller margins than others, but there seems to be a big shift that has been taking place and a lot of momentum going to President Biden. Also, a recent Pew Research poll that shows a lot of, and they're known for being the gold standard in demographic trends, actually shows that young voters and Black voters and Hispanic voters are still supportive of the Democratic Party and President Biden at around, if not more, the same percentages from 2020 and 2016, despite all of those prior bad polls trying to suggest the opposite. And, and ultimately for me, what I think we're seeing too is mainstream Republicans, independents, liberals, progressives, people who don't even know what they are politically, but know that Donald Trump discussed them, just kind
Hey,
of
Ben,
joining together.
If I can just add to that for one quick second here, did you also see the Ipsos Reuters
Yep.
poll? I mean, I think
Reuters.
that's a better understanding of exactly what's going on here. You see, as a result of this case, this upcoming trial, one that Donald wasn't even really thinking about because the idiots that are around him are telling him how inconsequential it is and why they said it to him. I don't know the answer. He's got such bad advice around him. The Ipsos Reuters poll has Biden beating Trump in the general election 38 to 41%, whereas before, and I'm talking about just a couple of months ago, January, they had Trump ahead 43 to 37. So you're talking about like a 9-point swing. And I think it's extremely important. Here, I'll show it to you in case we don't have it. The importance of this is to show you that the wacky shit that Trump and his people are doing, it is being noticed by the American people. And as more and more months go and we get closer to the November election date, and you see Donald unhinged more and more, saying these wacky, stupid things, taking credit for things like the overturning of Roe v. Wade, talking about the nonsense that he's talking about, attacking Jews who want to vote for a Democrat. None of this is going to benefit him, talking about how blacks appreciate and like him because he's been indicted. Again, insulting, racist, the fact that blacks, especially black males, like him because he's in the sneaker business. Racist, insulting. I mean, these are the stupid things that this guy is saying. He's so nervous he doesn't know what to do or what to say. He thinks he's reading the room, but it's not happening anymore. He's lost that. He's lost this edge. And as long as Biden and his team continue to do what they're doing, be reasonable, talk about things that need to be done. This Arizona Supreme Court, they're going back to 1864. That's before the Civil War, that they're going to bring women's rights back to 1864. And this ass clown is sitting there talking about, right, how Biden did this. That it's amazing to me. I just don't understand. It's about states' rights. I mean, he has no idea what he's talking about. Yeah, bye-bye Trump. He has lost it, and America is now seeing it firsthand. So you know what? While I'm at it, and I'm on this little tirade, two-finger salute to you again, Donald. All right, back at you for 2 weeks for 2 episodes in a row. Fuck you. It's enough already. All right, it's absolutely enough. I want to just say one last thing, and I'm going to ask you to close down the show. When you talk about these polls and why Biden is now increasing, Trump is decreasing, a lot of the credit has to go to like Midas Touch Network, to go to you, to Brett, to Jordy, to all of the personalities that you have on the various Midas Touch Network programs, like Mea Culpa, like Political Beatdown, like Legal AF, the Meiselas brothers, and so on. It really is important because between all of our various podcasts and programs, as an example, Mea Culpa turned over 300 million downloads since starting. Thank you for that. All right, over 300 million downloads. People are beginning to listen. They're beginning to understand that we are providing them with truth. We're providing them with facts. No innuendo. There's no spin. You take it the way you want to take it. We're not here like Fox does or OAN or Newsmax to guide you. We're basically providing you with information. Yeah, much of it has to do with our interpretation of it, but the facts are the facts. We don't skew them. We give it to you. Look, I'm not telling you that Biden is up by 10 points, that there's no chance for Trump to pull a Hail Mary. None of that. I'm giving you the facts that he is now beating Trump in the general election by the Ipsos Reuters poll by 4 points, which is an 11-point swing since January. That's not my opinion. That is fact. And that's all that this network, that's all that Mea Culpa, Political Beatdown, that's all that we end up wanting to do. And a lot of this really needs to go, again, to the Midas Touch Network, to other, organizations that are doing the same thing, the same good work that we're doing.
And look, when you give the credit to the Midas Touch Network, well, I'm appreciative, but both you and I also know that this network is community driven. It's the Beatdown Brigaders, it's the Midas Mighty, it's the Legal AFers, it's all of us uniting. And we may be on different sides of the traditional political spectrum, right? Progressive liberal versus conservative, mainstream Republican, independent, whatever. We've been able to join together out of this value set for the love of our democracy, for decency, for normalcy. When I embarked on this journey of politics, I didn't really feel all that political. So at first I thought, well, I must have to choose a team. I have to choose a tribe, and then I have to dislike the other tribe just because. But what I learned over time is that what was most important about this all were the principles, was the value set, was talking about freedom, was talking about pro-democracy, was leading with empathy and understanding and love and trying to be caring and having flaws and being vulnerable and having this experience with everybody, and then understanding the threat posed by Maga and how it's not normal what's happening there and how it's so dangerous to our country. And then leading with the values as a community. And then if the politicians or the politics want to align and meet those fundamental values and principles, that's great. But that to me is how this community's been so empowered, because we've led with those traits. And I don't think that's really been done before in a way that this community has been able to bring that together. And Michael Cohen, you're a major part of that. So I want to thank you for that. And of course, I want to thank everybody who's a member of this community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now is a great time to sign up for patreon.com/political beatdown. Tonight at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, join Michael Cohen, myself, Brett, and Jordy. Let's just have some fun tonight. Let's keep it light for 30 minutes. And if you want to meet Michael Cohen on that Zoom, join right now, patreon.com/political beatdown. Subscribe to the Mea Culpa Blue, wherever that's available, whatever podcast device you use or app you use. Search for the Blue Mea Culpa right now and subscribe there as well. To anyone who can make the Zoom tonight, I look forward to seeing your faces. No pressure. You don't have to show your faces, but I look forward to seeing you and sharing some positive vibes tonight. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Cohen, we're with you. Shout out to the Brigaders and shout out to the Midas Mighty.